Okay.
So hello, should I start now? Or?
Yeah. Will you introduce yourself, okay?
Yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Anders Omstedt and I am the chair of the Swedish Dream Group Forum and professor emeritus in oceanography at University of Gothenburg. I have two strong interests which I would like to speak about today. First, how the ocean and its coastal seas works. Secondly, how the internal ocean within us all works. And here I mean how our subconscious part communicate with our conscious part through dreams, intuitions, and feelings. As you know, the ocean is the prerequisite for all life on Earth. At the same time, the ocean is a beautiful symbol for humans' internal potential and intelligence. But before starting, I would like to thank Bill Stimson for inviting me to this meeting. As most of you know, Bill has been able to establish courses at the university level on dreaming, which is quite different from what we have been able to achieve here in Sweden. In 1980, Kerstin Andersson invited Montagu Ullman to Växjö, Sweden. Kerstin was working as a psychotherapist at St. Sigfrid's Hospital, and Ullman was invited to give training courses for the staff. This was a start for the Ullman traveling back and forth from US to Sweden and meet many people in Sweden, where he introduced what we know now as the Dream Group method by Ullman. In 1990, the Swedish Dream Group Forum was organized, aiming to act as a non-profit nationwide association whose purpose is basically to preserving and develop Montagu Ullman's method for dream working groups and promote the education and training of dream groups leaders. The Swedish Dream Group Forum has now been active in 30 years. I will now give you a background in how I, as a marine scientist, became involved in dreams. In the middle of the 80s, I made my PhD in oceanography with a thesis on ice formation on the ocean. Here I had collected data and developed different kind of numerical models and written a number of scientific papers. At the same time, I felt the need for another language. The language of science was not enough. I needed to find a language to express my feelings and what was going in my internal scene. I observed a strong interaction between my studies of the external ocean and what was happening inside me. And this was a very large surprise for me. For example, I was happy working with ice formation in the ocean, which is due to Frazil ice formation, small ice crystals that are larger and mixed into the ocean surface layer. Frazil ice formation worked also as a metaphor for me. I was not frozen solid in my soul. Instead, my internal sea was wild, fascinating, and dynamic. And this was a great inspiration also for my scientific work. In my hunting for a new language, I started to go to a number of summer schools oriented to dreams, literature, and mythology. During the first summer school and the first night, I dreamt that I was standing outside a department store, and inside I could see lots of interesting boxes. When I went to the main entrance, the door was locked. So I understood that I need to learn something to be able to open my dream world. But the night after this dream, I dreamt I was bitten by a scorpion in my Achilles tendon. My interest in dream had awakened, and I realized that the key to my dreams was my own vulnerability and feelings. That first summer course was held in Biskops-Arne, a beautiful place on Lake Mälaren outside Stockholm, organized by Stina Hammar, who has written several books about literature and dreams. From that time, attending summer schools at different places around Sweden and working in dream groups gave me an education in dream interpretation and a deeper understanding of the strengths of the Ullman method. In Sweden, dream groups work using the Ullman method was taking place at different groups. First, I was involved in the Pedagogic Forum in Stockholm, which was led by Marianne Blom, a Jungian-influenced priest and psychotherapist. Several of the members in this organization were able to get contact with Monte Ullman during his stay in Sweden. Summer schools were organized at beautiful places where dreams, literature, dancing was some of the instruments during the courses. I was strongly inspired by these courses and dreams, and dreams and literature became a complement to my scientific language. Later, I came in contact with the Swedish Dream Group Forum during a summer course at the Swedish West Coast in Ljungskile. This was education-oriented training me to become a dream group leader. Today, the Dream Group Forum organized dream groups courses every spring, summer, and autumn. Expect this year, terrible year when the coronavirus has made it impossible. And what you see on the background, the photo background of me, is from the island of Öland, where we have our summer courses. So you can imagine it's beautiful places we are having our courses on. As a dream group leader, I have been involved in a number of organizations to promote dreamworks, as for example, Dream Retreat organized at Vättershus, close to Lake Vättern shore. Dream Retreat where we use the Ullman method but not speak outside the dream work has an extra quality as silence strengthens the dream work in an interesting way. Parallel to my work with dreams, my oceanographic work became oriented towards understanding systems and modeling physical ocean process fed into biochemical modeling of the carbon system. Carbon, that's we. This work opened the possibility of addressing problems related to climate change and eutrophication and of modeling multiple stressors of the ocean. Such modeling, mostly using a bottom-up process, became increasingly complex. The human effects on the ocean was obvious. We modeled this effect by considering past and present climate conditions and extended them into the future by prescribed different emission pathways. Anthropogenic pressure on the ocean, especially on its coastal sea, are strong in various ways, raising new questions about how to model human impacts. The human threat to the ocean and its coastal sea are severe. The year of 2050, it is estimated that the human population can be about 10 billion people. About 70% will be living in urban areas and megacities. And there will be an increased extrapolation of coastal areas, often not sustainable. And there will be further reduction in fish and more plastic maybe than fish in the oceans. Global warming and marine acidification, eutrophication and increasing anoxic zones, increased pollution from toxic substance and medicine, risky exploration of deep ocean, increasingly alienation from the marine environment. That is my main sorry for the future. I am worried that we will have an increased alienation for the marine environment, and that is why I try to speak for the ocean. To address the great challenges for the ocean, the United Nations has launched a decade of ocean sustainable development between 2021 to 2030. And it's obvious that natural science cannot solve these problems alone. Instead, there is a need for connecting natural and human science better to increase the awareness of the ocean and humans. What determines human behavior and what pathway humanity will take in the future are questions that cannot be answered with certainty. It was obvious to me that science must improve its understanding of human behavior and human perceptions of the ocean and coastal sea. So I wrote a book about how analytical thinking and intuition could be better and more productively connected. Maybe you can see it here. It's this book. I don't know if you can see it. From long experience in dream groups, I realized that dream analysis provide an excellent background for studying how we think. The title of the book was Connecting Analytical Thinking and Intuition, and with a subtitle, And the Night Abound with Inspiration. As you may understand, the subtitle and the night abound with inspiration indicate that I illustrated intuition with dreams. And here I presented and applied the ULMA method as a tool for how one can connect analytical thinking and intuition. In the book, I outlined many of the important aspects of the ULMA method, such as how to catch a dream, to find words for feelings, meanings of symbols, triggers, orchestration, etc. Also how to give open question through respectful dialogue with dream in center. Many aspects that most natural scientists are not trained in at all. The conclusion from the book was also that natural science education needs to become broader and involve the arts. Later, I expanded on this idea by investigating the connection between science and art, starting from marine science and our conscious and unconscious perception of the ocean. The aim with this new book, with the title A Philosophic View of Ocean and Humanity, is to illustrate the importance of the ocean and coastal seas for the humans. Here I use the dream group method to have a dialogue between a concerned marine scientist and the ocean. The concerned marine scientists illustrate the large, enormous service the ocean are providing to humanity. For example, all precipitation, all rain is coming from the ocean. At the same time as humans so strongly misuse the ocean. The unconscious part responds through poetry, literature, and dream, giving the ocean a voice. As an example, the ocean sends an image of a dead seabird filled with plastic waste. And in the dialogue, the scientists become aware of that the image can be interpreted as a metaphor for the human dysfunctional state of mind, with environmental problems being seen as mental problems. So let's think a bit about the future for Dream Group's work. The ULMA method involved many aspects that could be used in a large number of applications, as also stated by Risto in Bill's earlier YouTube dialogue. But all methods need to be developed with research and used in new applications with persons of different background. Why? I will give you an example. Within the mathematical area of geometry, much excellent idea was put down by the Greek philosophers for more than 2,000 years ago. And for example, the idea by Pythagoras was excellent and outstanding, as we now also think the Ullmann Dream Group method are. Some argue that you don't need more than the Greek understanding of the geometry, but of course this is wrong, as geometry has developed a place, an important part today in our understanding of e.g. the universe. Thus, research and new application are needed in developing most good methods. We that are working with the Ullmann method have problems sending dream work out. Bill is an exception. Maybe partly due to the fact that we glorify the method instead of appreciating dreams. Many of us use the book by Ullmann, Appreciation Dream, as a manual and even as a Bible. Instead of appreciation dream, we are lost in a number of recommendations that limit creativity. All recommendations are good, but it's more important the dynamic that should be released by the dream group and the dreamer. Many of the good ideas comes not from one person. Instead, it's a collective process that should be supported in the dream group work, and everyone's creativity should be able to flourish. I think also we need to review what kind of aspect we are often missing when we are working with dreams. I'll give some examples as inspiration for literature, inspiration for different kind of arts, for science, inspiration for science, for mythology, religion, fantasy, and behavior change. So, everyone that are listening to this presentation, dream work is very rewarding with lots of benefits. You may increase the understanding of your own internal sea, but also that we humans belong to each other. How we interact are fundamental. The nature and the ocean have limits, but used with care, it can strongly support a sustainable and healthy relation with the humans. We have all a future challenges that involves to serve each other and the ocean in a better way, and knowing that outer and inner seas both have much more intelligence to discover. Finally, I will end this presentation by inviting you, Bill, into a discussion about how dreams and our dream work can be used to increase the awareness of nature and ocean and to promote behavior change. What do you say about this, Bill?
I have so many ideas on this, I don't know where to start. But I think the importance of your work is you showed the connection between dreams and the environment, the inner nature and the outer nature. And I don't think this can be emphasized too much. I have a friend who was my best friend when I was in college. And he was a biologist like I am, but I took a different path. And so we separated. And recently I've contacted him again. I've tried to make contact and I've tried to interest him in the work with dreams, but he'll have nothing of it, you know. And it really gave me a picture of how blind people are to the importance of the inner environment. To him, all the data he needs is in the outer environment, but I don't think that's true. Now, I know the friendship is ended now because what I'm doing to him is like, is totally alien. The sad thing about scientists, when you change your field, you lose all your friends because they can't understand why you would do something different than what they're doing. So that's why I was very impressed with your work, your books. I think it's true what you said, you know. Let me see how I can organize my thoughts. Okay, let me just start here. One thing is I get the feeling sometimes Do you want to say anything before I go into this?
Take it one more. I didn't hear what you said.
Do you want to say anything before I just?
No, no, no. Now, please, you have the floor.
Well, I feel that people sometimes talk about dreams and science, or this has been going on for a while. They've tried to integrate science with literature and philosophy and art and music, things like that. But I feel this is a little bit of a floppy approach. I feel a more powerful approach is to realize science as an art. In other words, to practice science as an art. And the Zen swordsmen, for example, in Japan, they have made a kind of steel sword that is extremely strong. And the way they did it was by layering layers of different kinds, densities of steel around each other. And their swords are just incredible. Nothing in modern science has equaled the hardness of that material they produced. And they did it by making their science an art. That's what Zen is. Everything is an art. And I feel that if we, first of all, this goes together with the idea I have. I feel that it's very important, if we're going to salvage the environment of the earth, that we begin educating people on how to connect with their own unconscious. Because I feel, like you say in your book about the ocean, I'm very touched by that, because I feel it's true. Our unconscious, our ego is not connected with the environment. I'll kill all the orangutans just so I can make money growing these palm trees. I don't care about anything but myself. But the unconscious is not like that. The unconscious does connect with the environment. And the proof of that is, I used to be a biologist studying in the rainforest. When I'd go into the forest, something happened to me where I was in contact with something different in myself that I never knew before. That's called the unconscious. And nature, I think, connects us with that. And to connect with our unconscious, conversely, enables us to be people who can connect with each other, with our body, with our feelings, with our intuitions, with our creativity, and with nature. And so I feel so strongly, and I feel so isolated in this because I'm the only one doing it. I feel so strongly that the Omstedt Dream Group process belongs in the university. And that I remember when I went to Duke, of all the courses I took there, or in Columbia either, I think the course that affected me most as a human being was freshman composition. And I went into that course failing it. I didn't know what the hell the course was about. And I found out about halfway through the course, something clicked. And I realized this course is about me. These poems are about me. These plays are about me. And I'm about them. And I feel that the Omstedt Dream Group course is a course like that. It's a course that can connect people with themselves. And then no matter what they do, they'll do it in a different way. They'll do it like an art, more like an art. It's not Zen, but it's something like that. And so I feel, I feel that I know you're a scientist. I can't say I'm a scientist. I mean, I got my PhD in biological sciences, and I did research. I discovered new things in the rainforest and in the lab, but I'm not a scientist. I'm a dream group leader, that's all. You're a scientist. And I guess you could say I'm an educator. And so I feel that if we want better scientists, we have to get dreams in the education of these scientists. We have to connect these scientists with their spirit. With in the spirit of the unconscious is a connection with what's divine, what's natural. You said something interesting. You talked about the vulnerability of nature. I think this is so important. Nature is powerful because it's vulnerable. And you said that nature, like the unconscious, like nature, is dynamic. And this is true. It's always evolving and adapting. And we are, like you said, with the ice crystals, we are not one thing, we're fluid. And that's true. We can adapt, we can become better. Not so much the conscious mind. The conscious mind, but the unconscious mind. And I think we've betrayed that. Like you said about the Ullman method, we glorify the method instead of appreciating dreams. I feel we've done that with religion too. You know, what's missing in religion is what people used to call God. You know, it's missing, and it's in us, and it's in nature, and it's the more important thing. So I don't know if I'm making any sense. I'm going all over the place because I just scribbled.
So Bill,
yeah.
So Bill, if I understand you, you are not giving so much hope for the conscious mind, but for the unconscious mind. You're saying that we have everything. We have the love for the sea, the love for the nature, the inspiration of the trees, the beauty of the flowers, the beauty of the fish and seals. We have everything in our unconscious part. So that means that it's really important to connect the conscious with the unconscious part. And then we are back to dreams. The dreams is the gateway to between the conscious and unconscious part. So why? So if I interpret you, you are saying a change in behavior must be associated to improved understanding on the connection between conscious and unconscious part through dream works. So again, the Ullman method should be a very important contribution to a better world. Do you agree on that?
Well, I agree and I disagree. One thing I agree, I disagree is I think the conscious mind is very, very important. But it's the conscious mind, like you said yourself just now, the conscious mind that is not embedded in the unconscious is a sick mind. It's an unstable mind. It's a diseased mind. And just look at nature. I mean, Australia is full of marine biologists. And yet the Great Barrier Reef is dying.
Yeah.
In other words, what good is it? What good is you mentioned understanding, dreams and understanding. I don't think understanding is as important as being. Being. We have to be. I don't know how to say this because the words get in the way. But some magic happens when we start being conscious of the unconscious in the ways that it speaks to us, it expresses itself to us. Well, when we walk along the beach and we see something funny, something wrong, something's gone wrong, that's our unconscious speaking to us. Our sensitivity, you said vulnerability. I think vulnerability is very important. Somewhere you talked about a bottom-up approach. I think that's so important. Not a top-down approach, not a conscious to unconscious, but a bottom-up from unconscious. In other words, it's sort of like making love. I mean, you can have a lot of fun, but when you're inside a woman and holding her tight, and you're with her, and you're growing you're connected, almost growing out of her. Maybe she's growing out of you also. That's the way the conscious mind needs to be with the unconscious. It needs to be really tightly coupled and interactive instead of just ignoring nature. I mean, I cannot imagine how these people, the damage they're doing to the environment, don't they think about their children, their grandchildren? The happy little faces. Gunnar Sundström sent me a picture a few days ago of his grandchildren. They're so beautiful. Yeah. Now, how can these people doing this to the oceans and nature, how can they not think of those little children?
Someone asked me, has the humans a mission? And you know, you can answer this in many ways, but it must be a very from fundamental reason, it must be very clear that the human has a mission, and that's to survive as a species. So we have responsible to the next generation and the next generation. So that is our basic goal, to look after our own species, that we can survive in a good way. Someone now don't think that we have any missions, but we can state that in many ways. I think we have a mission to take care of nature and ourselves. So we have very challenging messages that could be really highlighted when people are speaking about everything is happening, but all terrible things that are happening. We humans now, young and old, we have really missions to survive as a species and to come together and help each other and support a better development towards the environment and the oceans in many ways. And if we do that, we will have many benefits. We could get lots of more things out from the nature and the ocean, and we could be much more happy than today. So why are we not doing that?
That's the question. And also what you say about we could get many things out of nature. I mean, there are so many chemicals and reactions in the rainforest and all through the nature that we don't know about. And those could be medicines for us. They could be cures for our diseases. And what are we doing? We're destroying nature. We're destroying these plants and these frogs that have these marvelous compounds in them that took millions of years to evolve. We're not trying to learn about them. We're trying to destroy them to make money. I mean, it's sick. It's a disease. But what you said, our mission is to survive. The only way we can survive is by becoming more fully human. And what's happening instead is the opposite. We are becoming more and more inhuman. And we are not going to survive if we destroy the substrate that supports us, you know?
Maybe we are looking on things in a too black and white. I think lots of researches that we have made lots of progress. If you look now, we are 8 billion people on the earth, and for 200 years ago, we could just have 1 billion people. So we are able to have much more people now, having better conditions and better possibilities. So we are also making progress. The difficult thing is that we are both making progress and make destruction, lots of destruction, as you know, with the oil industry and the climate change issue. So in some way, we should also be proud of our progress. We are not only destroying things, we are also making lots of progress. So this black-white thinking can also be very dangerous, because young people may think that there is no hope for the future. But I say there is lots of hope for the future, because we have such a potential, but we must interact in another way. So we must also...
I agree with you, there's hope for the future, because I think we're going to come up to a tipping point where all of a sudden things are going to change fast. They have to change. But I disagree that too. I think having more and more population is not progress, because we are over the load, because the more every baby that's born, some species of animal goes extinct. The animals need environment to live in. And if we keep conquering more environment, we're taking their place. The fish are disappearing in the ocean. You know, we want to eat a healthy diet. I like salmon. I want to be healthy. I want my brain to be healthy. But the salmon populations are not healthy.
For me, the growth of population is not the problem. It's the problem is how we distribute the resources. Because even if you if you change your lifestyle, you could take 20 billion people on this earth. There is a capability of more than 20 billion people on this earth. So it's a question of how you use the resources and how you interact. So it's not the number of people.
But you know, there are two things I want to say. One, when you say distribution of resources, I have a strong feeling that it is terribly destructive to everything to have the income disparity that they have in America. Now, you people in Sweden are much more intelligent in that respect. Americans look at Sweden and they cry, socialism, help, help.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right to have so many very rich billionaires and so many people who have no opportunity to go to the university. These can be very intelligent people, but they're not given a chance.
Yes, this is very difficult, but could we just finalize this first discussion with us, with the possibility for me to explain what the literature can answer on this question?
Go ahead.
And I will, as I have in the book, a funny part, which I think is how you interpret the Lord of the Ring. The Lord of the Ring was written between First and Second World War, and of course the world was looking very destructive. And there are two main persons in the Lord of the Ring. It's Frodo, who's a very brave person who enters a long travel to throw the ring into the fire. And there is Gollum, the shadow part, the person who really would like to have lots of money and the ring, he really likes the ring. And they both fight about that. And in the end, they both miss the gold ring and the world is saved. So that is a very clear interpretation that if we should be able to change the world, we must change our greedy nature. Because every one of us has very easy to become greedy. We would like to have some more money, we would like to have more. If we don't change that, we will destroy the earth. And that is very nicely described by Tolkien in his book, The Lord of the Rings. So please read that in my book and think about it as a suggestion of
this is your new book. A new book coming out.
Pardon?
This is a new book that's coming out that we haven't seen yet.
No, it's a part in in a part of this philosophy view. So I discuss this in this book.
Oh, I'll have to go back and read that. I don't remember that piece.
So I'm looking into literature as an inspiration for what kind of alternative do we have in the future. And the Gollum and Frodo's fight about the Golden Ring is really a good illustration that Tolkien tried to tell us. If we don't give up the greedy nature, the dark side of us will win and everything will be destroyed. So that's an art, literature message to us to think about or reflect on.
Well, I feel my experience is that this greedy nature is more a function of the ego, the self, the ego. And when we can grow beyond that like people do in the second half of life as they grow older, the different kind of nature comes into play. That it's a nature that realizes that if I get a lot for myself, that's not being rich. But if I'm able to help the whole have sufficient, have a lot, that's being rich. In other words, to make the environment rich, to make the fish happy and the bears and the trees, and to make the world more beautiful, that's being rich. But to get a lot of money, like these Koch brothers in America with their greedy oil business, to get a lot of money for myself, while I'm ruining the environment, that's not being rich. They call it greedy, but I call it stupid, really, you know?
Yeah.
I feel that one issue about the thing about nature, what I've noticed about all natural systems is they have a balance. They're in balance. And we're like that too. We have a balance, but we've lost our balance. I think back in the in previous times, there was much more of a balance. There's a book out, a wonderful book called it's by Ian McGilchrist, and it's about the left brain and the right brain, and he studies literature, and he studies neuroscience, and he finds that in the past times there was more of a balance between the left and the right brain. We had more balance between the two sides of our nature, but today the balance is gone. Everything is the left brain. It's all going over to one side, and so what we do is we miss a whole side of reality. We're missing part of reality. We're out of balance, and that's why nature is out of balance all around us. What we see in nature is what we're doing to ourselves. We're out of balance, and so everything we touch goes out of balance. And I think it's so important that dreams and the unconscious, or Zen meditation, or just spending time in nature, like that scene behind you, that beautiful scene, it balances us, and we end up balanced. I feel that dream work really balances. I don't think I know. I know because week after week I work with dreams, and the person comes in, we work with a dream, and not only is the dreamer balanced, we all end up more balanced too. And I feel it's very important to be in balance.
Yeah.
When something's out of balance, it loses its complexity. But if you go to a mature ecosystem, like a mature eastern deciduous forest in North America, that you have a rainforest even, or maybe parts of the ocean. The environment, the ecosystem is very complex, and so it's very stable. It's in balance and it's stable and it can sustain a lot. But if you keep damaging the environment so that it becomes simpler and simpler with fewer and fewer species, it can't balance itself. It's sick. And that's the same with people. I think money is too important for our culture nowadays in America, in the United States.
I think we should stop now. I think it has been a very creative discussion, and I hope that we can come back on this issue, because it's important to think about how should we develop dream group works better, and maybe we can start to have a network on dream groups all over the globe, and that would be very interesting to see.
Well, I'm trying to do that. That's what I'm trying to do. Do you have any suggestions on how to go?
Yeah.
The way I've started is by filming people like you who are so pivotal in this. But what do you think is, I'm going to keep doing this, well, what's the next step? How do we make this network?
I think it's very useful that you are doing that, so please continue with that and do this. Maybe we should collect them into a book sooner or later, and maybe we can have Zoom dream groups meetings in some way. I think the hope is that younger people is also being involved and can see the possibility to use dream groups in different applications. So that is my hope, and I hope that in some way environmental people that would like to know more about themselves comes into this activity of dreams.
Are there many people there in Sweden who think like you do?
So the Swedish Dream Group Forum, we are about 120 persons, something like that. And we in general have during a year 100 people working at those courses. Totally, every time it's like 20 to 30. But there are many other groups. but there has been no effort to document Ullman's groups. So there is no clear documentation of that, and there is no documentation on how often they are meeting. So everything has been very loose in structure, hoping that that is enough. But to have a stable structure, you must know how many that are involved and what they need to for the progress. So I think maybe we are maybe this is what Ullman thought, that it's up to everyone to do this. It should not be over organized, but with Zoom and Messenger and so on, we are now able to have meetings in a new way, and you have shown this very clear with these interviews, and also this school examples of people that are really touched by the dreams. But what happened when you and I disappear? Will there be a growth, or are we limiting this, or will there be people taking over? I don't know. I hope.
In Sweden, are there young people interested in this work now?
It's basically from 40 plus and up. So it's no young students, and but I would say 40 plus.
That's what Pirjo said when I was in Finland. Pirjo, Marco's wife, she said that it's mostly falling to older people. I think to have a future, it needs to involve younger people.
Yes, I think it's a fantastic tool for old people to come to tell their stories and learn from their unconscious. So for old people, it's a fantastic method. But for a change in behavior change for the environmental, we must reach the young people. So we must come to the student as you are doing, and have it as a complement to other education. So the best thing would be that it would be integrated into the education.
Anders, I want to say one more thing. Based on what you said in your talk just now, and my experience, I've been doing this many years at the university. In my experience, I mean, when I begin the course, I often think these students are really stupid. And I'm always wrong. My experience is that people are so much smarter than we think. Yeah. And that this intelligence is not the kind of intelligence that we understand. Well, I feel, and I think you mentioned this in your talk and in your books, I feel the power of the Ullman group is that it involves a collective intelligence. In other words, my intelligence as Bill is connected with the intelligence of the other people in the group. And that's what makes me smart, not me. It's not me, it's the group. And I feel that, like I've read the biography of Einstein, and he was incredibly involved with his friends and his girlfriends. He was deeply involved with this. All the people were helping to form these ideas. He didn't do it himself. And I feel that there is a group intelligence we have that we are not tapping into sufficiently. And we're making ourselves stupid by cutting the ego is separate and apart. I'm me and you're you. But the unconscious is not. The unconscious is like a man and a woman making love. It interpenetrates. And I feel that...
as you have also stated in Facebook, the division into different religions is stupid. So of course, it's a resource. The unconscious is a resource for the human people, the humanity, and it has lots to learn, and there are lots of knowledge. And we should not glorify individuals. We should glorify dreams, the unconscious, intuitions, art, and beauty of nature.
Everybody is so special. And when we start saying this person's the best, that person, we miss the fact that everybody is so special, and we're not utilizing the real resource we have to
Yeah.
to solve this problem of the climate, because we're not utilizing the people. We're not freeing them up to touch into their own deep resources, which are unconscious, creative resources, spiritual resources. And anyway, I'm talking on and on. I want to stop.
Yes, I think we should stop now because no one will have time to listen at this if it goes too long. So we can do another this Zoom meeting another time with another theme.
So Anders, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill, very much. Very nice to have this meeting, and you are doing a very good work with putting dreams into university curriculum. I'm very impressed of that.
Well, what's happening here is nothing like what you people are doing in Sweden. I mean, honest to God, when I read about what you're doing, when I hear you talk, I wish I was in Sweden. So congratulations and thank you.
Goodbye.